You are now listening to the fastest show on IE Sports Radio. My name is Darryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you to take another lap of the extra mile for today, March 24th, 2025. Well, Kyle Larson was dominant in Homestead, Miami. Oscar Piastri picked up a big win in the Chinese Grand Prix. And Alex Palou had a come-from-behind stunner in Thermal. And to help me talk about all of this, of course, my co-hosts, Jenn B, Michael Ward, Christopher Lehman.
Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
I thank everyone for joining us tonight. Hey, we're going to pay some bills. We'll start the show right after this with a quick review of what happened in the Arizona Nats in the NHRA. But sit tight. We'll be right back after this.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
And we're back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The gang is all here. And I just want to say thank you to Anzia Racing for allowing me to co-host the Crux Cup Pro GP. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, but that was a great event, and I cannot wait to be a part of the next one. I'll also be on the commentary for the Crux Cup 24-hour this weekend. You can join me around the 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern time block of that particular race. And you can see the shirt I've got on today. This Maryland shirt in support of the Maryland women's basketball, who just won a double overtime thriller against Alabama. And after the game yesterday, Jen, I'm tired of buzzer beaters now. I just want to win a game comfortably. That'd be nice.
At least your team won. Mine did not.
I'm sorry. Who are you pulling for?
Ohio State.
I'm sorry. Hey, at least I won football.
That is true. That is true. The women's team is so much better than they appeared yesterday. They just did not. They didn't have it yesterday, unfortunately.
Yeah, it happens. And what also happened? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Darryl.
I was gonna say what also happens is 300 miles per hour. Lord have mercy, tongue twister. 300 mile per hour beasts in the desert at Firebird Raceway for the NHRA Arizona Nats. So go over your winners in the finals. Sean Langdon continues his dominance in top fuel. He picks up the win in the top category. In funny car, though, hats off to Paul Lee. First career victory. And to get that win, who does he have to take down? Oh, last year's dominant NHRA Top Fuel Funny Car champion, Austin Prock. Paul Lee picks up the win in the finals. And we all just want to send out our thoughts and prayers to Ron Capps, who during the opening round of that race had a hellacious explosion on that car, or on his Napa Auto Parts Camry. Ended up slamming the inside or the left side wall. Thankfully, he got out okay. But Chris, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about John Force taking a similar accident and was knocked pretty much out of the sport. We hope for a happy retirement. I don't think we want to see John Force back, but it just shows all the development in the last few years. And Larry, he says it the right way. We're glad Ron Capps is okay.
Yeah. And just kind of touching on what you said with John Force, these athletes, men and women, and kids too, they get behind these cars. These cars are incredibly, unimaginably fast, particularly obviously with the acceleration, right? These guys are going 0 to Lord knows what in fractions of a second. So the G-forces, and so keeping these cars under control, and then, durability of the car as well. So obviously accidents happen, and with Capps and Force obviously being some notable ones lately, just hoping the best for those guys' recoveries. John Force, we've had some updates along the way where he's doing all right, so it's good to hear that he's doing okay, because he had a nasty that was last year, right? Last summer.
Yeah, last summer.
Yeah. That was a nasty wreck. So glad he's doing okay. And then, obviously same for Ron Capps as well. Hopefully he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's okay. The car is absolutely mangled. And Michael, it's not too long ago we lost Scott Coletta in an accident. And I think that's the last top fuel driver that we've lost. But I think the NHRA, I think the two motorsports that we sit there, actually three really, where we sit there where death is really still more than just a remote possibility, is motorcycle racing, MotoGP. God bless them. I will never do that. IndyCar / Formula One, and here with the NHRA.
Yep, those are the three.
Yep.
I would say IndyCar. Well, like IndyCar and Formula One, I feel like they've gotten a lot better since the halo and the windscreen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, just significantly better. Grosjean should have been dead.
Yeah, we should have lost Grosjean. I think we all remember that accident. It just
the halo saved him from.
Lord knows they won't let us forget about it.
No, they will talk. They will trot that broken car out every time they need some positive feedback. But
as long as people still buy tickets to see it, they'll sell them.
Yeah,
for sure.
Speaking of guy that needed good luck, Greg Anderson won probably the slowest pro stock final in recent memory at the Arizona Nats. Dallas Glenn jumped the beams, actually went before the beams came on. Greg Anderson went, and his car died about a foot after he hit the gas pedal. He takes the win with a time of 62.976 seconds. So it's about a minute and some change for him to clear a quarter mile. Definitely not the fastest pro stock final of all time, but he ends up picking up the win, and that is all that matters in the NHRA. And with about 2 events now underway, we can go over who are the points leaders. Actually, they have not updated the points yet, so we will catch their points with the third event of the season for the Mission Food Series, which will be the Lucas Oil Winter Nationals, held in the spring, March 27th through 30th in Pomona. I don't know if Larry is here, but yes, our cars could do that, Larry. But Can we just change the name of Lucas Oil's event to the Spring Nationals? Y'all are racing in March, not February. Like you're literally in meteorological spring. But anyway, that's enough complaining from me. For now, we still got a Chinese Grand Prix to talk about. And Larry, he hates how they move the winter nats. I do too, but unfortunately, they fill the seats at one place and they don't at another. That's why we are where we are with the season, with the beginning of the season. But I think they are going to go back to starting in Pomona. Oop, wrong button. So we're going to go ahead and get into, before we go to break, we're going to go ahead and get into the IndyCar Thermal Club GP event. I don't know why it's called Formula One, but we'll fix that later. But this was a race that Pato O'Ward had in his hands.
Fix it.
Okay. And then, unfortunately, a wild Alex Palou attacked. In the last segment, Pato pitted for the prime tires. Palou put on the reds, and those reds were a great decision. He was able to eat into an 8-second gap, ended up winning the race by 10 seconds.
Hello, used tire.
It wasn't, and that TikTok that I sent you guys, well, I mean, obviously it was just the race coverage, but what a beautiful series of overtakes right there. My goodness.
I think that was the best racing. Okay, it's recency bias, and they've only had 2 races, but it's the best racing we've seen at Thermal Club since that place has held a IndyCar event. I will say that. They were going at it.
Just to butt in quick, Larry. 24 Hours of Lemon. Yes. Alex Bowman, who this show knows is my favorite driver, he's participated in it.
Yes.
And so it's something I want to do too. They have all sorts of like junk car races that are kind of like endurances. They'll find like a short track and let them go. And there's one where it's like the Ultima Cup or something, and it's just restricted to like Nissan Altimas.
Oh yeah, Cletus McFarland did that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So they're all over, and it is a dream of mine to participate in one. So sorry for that little tangent.
In your Volkswagen?
For that. No.
Here's what I'll say about that Ultima race before we go on. That was probably the race with the lowest average credit score in recent memory.
I don't know. They race lawnmowers a couple miles down the road from my house. That might take the cake.
So Pato O'Ward led 51 laps in that race. Alex Palou led 13, but the most important 13. The only other leader was Alexander Rossi, who led 1 lap during the pit stop exchange. Palou, O'Ward, Christian Lundgaard rounds out the top 3. So great job for Christian Lundgaard. Colton Herta, the odds-on favorite to get the Cadillac seat in Formula One, finished 4th. And Kyle Kirkwood, shout out to him, another top 10 to start the year, this time in 8th. But the hybrid units did not do well in the heat of Thermal Club. 91 degrees there, Jen, and unfortunately it cost Scott McLaughlin with him going out.
Yes, it did. Yeah, they were going down like crazy. I was like, what is happening right now? But one more note on Alex Palou. I think he gives Kyle Larson a run for his money for best driver in the world.
He might be able to take that title away from him. Hopefully, Palou will get a Formula One seat soon. I hear there might be one opening in time for the Japanese Grand Prix, but just gonna keep that one to ourselves.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Trust me.
And even then, I don't think he wants that seat.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of salt when we get to Formula One. That's all I'm going to say. But not only did the hybrids have an issue, the TV truck for Fox had an issue as the race got knocked off television for about an hour after the power went out at the facility. IndyCar lost timing and scoring. Fox lost the broadcast, and I was actually watching the race. Michael, I had both races on. I had NASCAR on the computer, watching with some friends. I had the IndyCar race on the TV, and all of a sudden I look up and there's NASCAR on both my screens, and I'm like, what happened to the IndyCar race? And it's just unfortunate for IndyCar because they have a new broadcast partner in Fox, and this happens on the second race. Not a good look.
I guess NASCAR hijacked the feeds.
Well,
They said I'm the better motorsport.
that's debatable. But Chris, it sounded like a busted circuit breaker was the reason for the culprit, or was the culprit for that power outage.
Damn computers.
They're not all bad. They just need a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, but it also brings up a bigger point of should we be having a high-level motorsport race at what is basically a club track for dentists and plastic surgeons?
Wait a second. Do you know who has a house at Thermal Club?
Who?
Max Verstappen.
He could have showed up for this. Oh, wait, no, he was in China. But
Yeah.
if the schedule was different, he could have
Yeah.
showed up.
But yeah, theoretically, we saw his
Does he
house
have
on
multiple
camera.
houses?
When he makes $65 million a year, it'd be a waste of time if he didn't have multiple houses.
He's probably got houses all over the world at this point with all the money he's got. But I really
got a new
don't know
jet.
if this is with
Yeah,
a series that needs to be in front of more eyes. I don't think they need to become the country club series, which kind of goes back to the conversation that we've been having. IndyCar needs to stop trying to be American F1 and just be IndyCar. Be the top open wheel sport in America. They keep trying to F1ify it, and it sucks. You know, it's bad enough we have the charter system. And remember, with that charter system, they almost put in guaranteed spots in the Indy 500, and it took the fans raising holy hell for that not to happen. So I think IndyCar needs to take a step back and remember who they're supposed to be for, the fans, not the country club. And then some people will say, well, IndyCar needed the money. I don't think they got enough money for a racetrack that I don't think is built to have this level of event, to be honest.
You can never have enough money.
Yeah.
Bring him to Watkins Glen.
You would think they do that. Or heck, let's try to get another oval on the schedule. Something. And I don't feel like hearing the excuses. Work it out. Like, Roger Penske has a NASCAR team. I'm pretty sure he can get the check written. Like, I'm tired of hearing the excuses of why we can't do stuff in IndyCar.
Bring him to Dega.
God, no. They couldn't handle Pocono. You want to have them run at Dega?
Yep. I'm playing.
Larry, they used to go to Sonoma, but you are really dating yourself calling it Sears Point. I remember it as Sears Point.
Just back to the Talladega thing. Out of context, Larry agrees. Don't mind that he commented that 8 minutes ago now.
Yep. So the next time IndyCar will be on the track will be the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, April 11th through the 13th. The premier IndyCar race on the West Coast there on the streets of Long Beach. We used to have the celebrity race there that I hope they can revive because that was such a fun event, seeing the Pro-Am race there. Hopefully we can get that back one day. But IndyCar is going to the streets of Long Beach. Cannot wait to see them back in action. And before we go to break, as we said, the Crux Cup Pro GP was on Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. I doubt any of you guys got up to see that. But the results have been certified. And we will go through those results right now. And in the A-Crux category, Sanguis Luna, Jacqueline and Fresh 001 were absolutely dominating this event, despite Jacqueline having a crash about the midway point. But with 10 minutes to go, Fresh 01 goes under the Kaplan platform, misjudges another competitor, gets clipped in the right rear, crashes out from the lead, and it's Black Star Racing's combination of Playing Fox and Bill Boy that pick up the Pro Cup victory in the AX category. Playing Fox crosses the start-finish line number 1 to pick up the win there. But the Sanguis Luna duo of Jacket and Fresh 01, they come back to finish on the podium in 3rd, with Blue Star Transport finishing in 2nd. So congratulations to them. However, the other Sanguis Luna competitors, AX2 and AX3, they had a comfortable run to the end, with the combination of Gerbo the Gnome and Durnk picking up the win in AX2, with Fat Party Panthers, Cat 740 and Pattaya 23, and Sky Racing Team of Salem Frost and Ricky Ticky picking up the podium spots there. And finally, in AX3, second verse, same as the first. Sanguis Luna picks up the win with Jellyhead Maid and Liquid Prime. Kolbasa and Jakar Zorion representing Kolb Solo was 2nd. And Neojet and Logar Wilco in Sky Racing Team finishes 3rd, rounding out a double podium for both Sanguis Luna and Sky Racing. So congratulations to all of the Crux Cup competitors. And I'll be looking forward to that race being run at a much more convenient time next year. But it was fun to get up at 4 in the morning and watch spaceships do battle for an hour in racing. The Crux Cup competition wraps up this Saturday and Sunday with the Crux Cup 24-hour. We'll have 10 teams, 6 drivers each, going for 24 hours. That'll be on twitch.tv/Anzia Racing, and I'll be there broadcasting part of the nighttime portion, so make sure you join us. So we are going to take a break. When we come back, Michael, Jen, and I are going to be trying to figure out a mix and match motorsports theme that Chris has organized. Lord help us. Hopefully you, the listeners, can help us out as well. Then we'll get into the Straight Talk Wireless 400, and the 3 biggest Formula One fans here are going to be real salty about the Chinese Grand Prix. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. at any time. Be happy to reply. Always willing to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The gang is all here. And I'm going to hand the floor over to Chris now, as he has come up with a interesting game for us to play regarding Formula One and podiums. So without further ado, Chris, tell us what we're doing here.
All right. So we are going to figure out collectively, I guess by we are, I mean you guys, figure out matching up podiums. So you're going to pick two drivers and how many podiums they have shared together.
Okay.
So I've given you a couple helps or a couple hints to help out. Whoopsie. There's one that should not have been there. So with possibly the audience's help, see if you guys can figure out who goes where.
All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and get us started. I remember a couple of these. I think that 24 is Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard.
All right.
So we put him there.
Does your panel agree with you?
Well, Michael's the resident Formula One head. Michael, what do you think?
I think he's on Google right now trying to figure it out. So Larry asks, what is this? This looks fun. Larry, by all means, comment what you think. If you can help these guys out, give them a hand. Definitely open to audience participation on this. Yeah, just hoping to have a little fun.
Michael, do you agree with the 24 there? Michael, you're muted, actually.
I want to say Kimi Räikkönen and David Coulthard, but Mika Hakkinen and Coulthard, that does sound accurate.
I think Mika's in.
You got it. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, because Mika and David spent a lot more time with each other than I think Kimi and Mika did. Okay, so let's check the names here. Who do we have? Surprised Rubens isn't on here, because I know Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello shared a bunch together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they didn't make the list.
They didn't make the top 20. I just selected a couple out of the top 20.
Yeah. Let's think. This was actually a championship battle. I'm pretty sure Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen are on here somewhere. Just
maybe.
Where?
Well, who do you think? So you got Lewis right up there at the close to the top.
Mm-hmm.
53. I mean, you can narrow that down to about maybe
I
4.
want to say the 53 is him and Sebastian Vettel.
Do you agree, Darryl?
I feel like it is, because I think Lewis and Max are going to be a lot higher than that.
So 53 is not whoever you said. I forget already, but it is
It was
not
Lewis and Vettel.
It's not Vettel.
Bottas?
That's the only other one. It's got to be him.
Yeah.
Good job, Michael.
I was wondering. I was like, I don't see any other person it can be.
Okay, so we got Mansell here.
Well, why didn't you work from the top down rather than the bottom up?
I'm just taking random stabs at it, to be honest.
I want to say
I
the
feel like
one
that top one is Lewis and Max.
Let's see.
Yeah.
It is.
It's got to be. And it was buoyed by that 2021 season where they had like half the podiums together.
I want to
That
say
season
one
should have
with
ended better, by the way.
Raikkonen- I want to say that one with Raikkonen is 2005 with Alonso.
So this one here would be Alonso, 34.
I think
Yeah,
so.
Alonso Raikkonen. Yeah,
Look at that.
That's another Ferrari pairing that should have
that
been better.
pairing actually would have been dangerous.
Okay. Let's go for the one that still has the name there. So we got Nigel Mansell.
I want to
That
say
is either Senna or Prost.
I want to
think.
say Prost.
I'm going to go Senna then.
Senna, then it has to be Senna. I was
Yep.
going to say, when did he race with Prost?
And that would have been a lot more had Senna not passed away.
Yes.
I want to say 19 is Leclerc and Verstappen.
Yep.
You got it.
And that's going to grow if Verstappen stays around here. All right, so we still got a bunch of Michael Schumachers left. Jesus. Okay, one of these is Senna and Prost.
I want to say one of those two behind Alonso has to be him. And I want to say 41 is Schumacher Alonso.
No.
I don't think they shared that many.
37?
37. You got Schumacher.
Hakkinen?
Is that Mika?
It's kind of
Nope.
No, not Mika. That's David Coulthard.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because that was back when McLaren was like the number one foil to Ferrari.
I'm thinking about like 2006 season where it was basically just him and Alonso. It was basically just Schumacher and Alonso.
Yeah, McLaren, that was during the time in the V10 era where it was still kind of competitive. And the only reason Ferrari won is because they had Michael Schumacher, like the greatest driver of all time at that era.
I really want to get a Hamilton and Vettel one.
They're up there.
Are they
41?
Are they 56?
They're
41.
56 or 41.
Okay, so which one who are you pairing?
We're doing Lewis and Vettel.
Lewis and Vettel. Okay, which one do you think it is? Because they are a pair.
41?
Michael, this one's difficult because this was a lot of it was during that time
You gotta
where Lewis
remember
kind
it's
of
2018 through 2020.
Yeah, so that was when Vettel was really dominating and Lewis was that was when Lewis was really dominating and Vettel was trying to they were battling in the Ferrari. So I think it's 41.
I think it could be 56 because we didn't talk about 2010.
So we're talking Lewis and Vettel right now.
Yeah.
And the discussion is between 56 and 41.
I think it's 56.
Well,
Actually, it could be both for crying out loud.
Let's go with 56. If it's not 56, it's got to be 41.
It could be both.
Okay. Yeah, because those years, and we did the show during that time, Michael. Remember when they were trading wins, and then in the second half, Ferrari would fall off, except for that year where they had that engine that we still need to know what they were doing, Formula One, FIA.
It'll never happen.
Show us the 2019 cheater engine.
So 41 should be obvious now.
Vettel and Alonso?
Okay, maybe not that obvious.
It's got to be Lewis and Alonso, because I feel like Lewis is in the top four at this point.
Nope.
Really?
Schumacher Alonso?
Nope.
Hamilton Alonso?
It's not Hamilton. It's not Alonso.
Alonso and Vettel.
Nope.
God help me.
You're thinking too recent.
Oh, is that Prost Senna?
Hold on.
I like how we got it at the same time.
Hold on. We gotta let Jen get one.
I don't know any of these.
No. You gotta guess. You gotta guess.
I mean, two of them are Lewis Hamilton.
I'm going to pass the participation ticket.
Okay, Jen, I'm going to help you out. 25. One of them is Lewis.
Just throw a name out there.
Alonzo.
You got it.
Oh my
Hey!
god! Oh my god! Jen is the goat, I swear.
Larry B throwing out there. He's on Google. That's what's taking so long.
He's definitely Googling right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go 26. I'm going to say is Vettel and Alonso.
All right.
You got it.
Okay, now it kind of gets easier because we've got
like two left.
Well, now we got 4 left. We just got to figure out the pair. Well, the pairings are kind of obvious.
Yeah.
By the time period, we just got to figure out where they go.
Which Finn gave which driver a hard time?
Well, I know. Michael and Mika. That's one, and then Kimmy and Lewis is the other.
I think Kimmy and Lewis is like 30.
Yes, because Mika and Michael should have been a championship duel, and I know they had a bunch of podiums together. So I think Michael and Mika are 32, and Lewis and Kimmy are 30.
Let's find out. Backwards.
But hey. Well, we should have put them in different colors when we got them wrong, but it doesn't matter. We actually did a good job on that.
Yeah, we did.
You did.
All 3 of us did great.
You guys did
and
really
even
good.
Jen got one too, and she doesn't watch Formula One that often.
Yeah. It was a complete guess, and she did great.
That's because Jen is just the undisputed good, like, honestly.
So Larry pops in. This was difficult. That was sort of the point.
Yeah, that is really difficult, especially this was kind of in the era. A lot of these were from the era where I did not watch a lot of Formula One because I had to go to church. Well, got up to go to church, so I would miss the Formula One races. But
now Larry comment, this was really fun too, so I can also put that one up.
Yep.
I think
he said I'm not looking. He wasn't looking anything up actually.
Yeah.
I think I got like a good chunk of these because I played the anybody Darryl, I'm sure Darryl, maybe Chris has heard of this game. Anybody heard of the game F1 Championship Edition?
Yes, I played that one.
On the PS3. That was based on the 2006 season, so I just kind of looked up the history all the way up until now.
Didn't that one have like 2 seasons in it? Because one of them had 2 seasons, like 2004 or 2005 or something like that.
I think it was 2005.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun, and hopefully we'll get to do a little bit more of that going ahead. We'll have some more of these games to go on as the show continues.
If Chris does which manufacturer won, like how many? If like which manufacturer won the Nürburgring the most, it's easy. Just throw out all German manufacturers. You'll get it.
Just pick the Germans. You'll land on one.
Just pick the Germans.
Next week, it's just going to be a list of the record book, and it's just going to be any record that Max has. That's what it is.
I'm missing that episode.
You'll be here, Michael.
Well, half of them are going to be Max, half of them are going to be Lewis, and then a third of them are going to be Michael Schumacher, whatever's left at this point. So if you guess 3 of those names, you'll be good.
Yeah, hey, that's the truth.
But hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into a great race in Homestead, and we're finally going to let all the salt flow from 2 particular teams in Formula One.
So I hope
we'll talk about that on the other side of this break.
Because they're going to be extra salty.
Yep.
Oh, wrong hand up.
We're going to talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We're back here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Thank you all so much. We got 77 viewers on live right now. You can watch us live on Twitter, YouTube, and now Twitch.tv. And hey, if you can't catch us live, make sure to pick up our podcast wherever you get your audio from. So check it out. We'll run our socials there on the bottom as well. So thank you all so much for listening to your direct feed for all that is sports. IE Sports Radio. So let's go ahead and get into NASCAR and the Straight Talk Wireless 400. And I think this was, again, we're just going to start off with this. We love Homestead. Mm-hmm. Let's make it the finale again, please.
But will they listen?
Probably not. But we had another great race this weekend. Kyle Larson made it 2 out of 3 with a dominating win. But unfortunately, Ryan Blaney led over 100 laps in that race. Looked like he was going to win that one going away. And then the engine let go. And Jen, I haven't seen a NASCAR engine go up like that in quite some time. That just kind of spells the early season luck for Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, that was a lot of smoke. That was crazy. I watched the highlights and it was just his car on the screen and all you saw was white smoke. Yeah. I was like, oh.
I guess Cheech and Chong are making a movie about it.
We've seen this movie before, though, with Blaney.
I guess his race really went up in smoke.
Ugh. Michael comes off the screen for that one. I'm sorry.
You're in timeout. You're banished.
He's in timeout for a minute. All right, he's back. We've seen this movie before with Blaney. This kind of defined his early career, where he would be in position for so many wins, Michael, and they would just quite literally go up in smoke.
Yeah, it's really difficult with his luck sometimes. I think back about Phoenix last year, where he was so close to winning the championship, just couldn't get it. And this race here where he had a really fast car and it went up in smoke. It's got to be really frustrating with his luck sometimes. But hopefully he'll get that monkey off his back sooner or later this season. I still think he can have a really decent run at the championship.
Yep, and Larry, go ahead and start a swear jar for every time we make a smoke pun here. Because I think we're going to make a couple more before this is over. But on the subject of luck, if you've been a Bubba Wallace fan this season, you know it's bad when they make a graphic about it. He's had one race this year where he hasn't had an issue. Got caught up in a wreck in Daytona, went to Phoenix, had issues, went to Coda, was going to finish just outside the top 10, spun on the last lap, went to Phoenix, lost the brakes, crashed the car, got caught up in another wreck. Hold on, let me get the schedule up because it'll help me facilitate this. So we go to Daytona, he wrecks, gets caught up in the big one. No problems in Atlanta. Goes to Las Vegas, where that car was running strong. Gets caught up in the wreck because Noah Gragson decides to go 4 wide. And then they come to Homestead Miami Speedway and probably have Bubba's best overall race of his career. That car qualifies 9th, stays in the top 10 pretty much all day. Had a chance to win that race, Chris, but comes home 3rd. But for Bubba through the first 6 races, even with the crashes, they're 3rd in stage points right now. They're 7th in points. That is an exciting prospect going into the season, knowing how this team lights up in the summer.
Yeah, and just to kind of build off what you said, obviously Bubba finishes P3, great day for you. Bowman finishes P2, better day for me. So it was a good weekend for both of us, Darryl. And
yeah, it was.
I was actually just kind of scrolling Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, and apparently Door Bumper Clear said that the rumor mill is that Homestead will be the finale for 2026 and Vegas will be in 2027.
Ooh.
Homestead would be great. Why have we not had a finale in Vegas?
Yeah, that's exciting. That's almost too good to be true. So
that is exciting. I don't believe it, but that is exciting.
Well, here's my
Vegas
thing.
Would be a great finale.
Well, for a long time they had the banquet in Vegas, and we never did it there. Like it made too much sense, I guess. But to have a championship finale in Vegas, a city that's built for that,
yes,
it's just going to be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they could, I don't know. I don't think it's possible, but I was like, if they can line this up with the Formula One race,
too much traffic.
Yep. Yeah. What would be even better, and I'd love, is running the NASCAR championship race at Watkins Glen with snow tires.
Oh yeah, there would be like a foot of snow on the ground around this time, wouldn't there?
Not quite, but it'd be cold and miserable for out of towners at least. But actually,
you guys are gonna be fine with it.
Oh yeah, we'd still be tailgating, but
got the grill up.
Yeah, I don't know why we haven't tried that yet.
I don't think open wheel cars and snow is good.
I don't think those two things mix very well, unfortunately.
Now in an endurance race with snow, I think that would be fire. But
going back to Larry's comment earlier today, where is it?
Where is it?
Well, one thing I need to see is where has our defending champion been all year? Because Joey Logano, he's having one big championship hangover. He was decidedly not good on Sunday. Managed to rally back to 14th, but
he will show up when he needs to show up.
Yeah, he's going to show up
right on that.
The end of July. He's going to hit his stride at the end of July, and he's just going to carry it through to the championship.
He's going to win 2 races and win the championship.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is Joey Logano has won a championship in the ways that people used to get on Jimmy Johnson or accuse him of doing, which was waiting for the playoffs. But it just seems like Joey Logano the closer we get to that pay window, the better he gets. And that's going to be scary for everybody because I don't think he's going to continue to run this mediocre the rest of the season.
No, unlikely.
So the next time we will see NASCAR will be in Martinsville. That'll be this weekend.
That'll be exciting.
A lot of teams are going to be eating a hot dog that I don't know if overrated or not. I've never been. They'll be running in the Cookout 400, which is, other than the place where Ross Chastain made the video game move that's now banned, is a good place for Hendrick Motorsports and 2311.
Yep.
So we could see those teams do well this weekend.
With any luck.
All right, I think we've stalled it out for long enough.
I tell you, you know what? Chinese food sounds so good right now.
It really does.
Just like some sesame chicken and some
Yes,
fried rice.
man. Yes.
Oh man, I'm just making myself. I just ate dinner too, and I'm just still hungry.
We're not going to be able to avoid it, guys.
I don't know this beer, this IPA that my brother-in-law gave me just really has me hankering for Chinese food right now.
I don't know,
It just
man.
seems
I
like
just want to take some salt and just dump the whole thing on my fries right now.
Well, let's go ahead and get salty, shall we? The Formula One Chinese Grand Prix. As you know,
it happens.
It is one of the races of all time. As you know, Michael and I, Lewis/Ferrari fans, Chris, Red Bull fan, Jen is just going to love all of this for the next 10 minutes as we are salty. And we're going to go in and get into these results.
Wait, Chris, why are you salty?
Well, let me get to the podium, and then I'll let him get the floor.
It's been 2 races, and Max hasn't won yet. This is like...
Oh, boo-hoo!
This is a dry streak.
Buddy, I had to wait 2 years to see my driver win again. I don't want to hear it.
On McLaren.
Yes, that's why there is a note in our script. Everybody should talk McLaren.
Yep. So Piastri and Norris were your top 2 in the race for McLaren. George Russell, good finish for Mercedes in P3. Max Verstappen in 4th place. And this is where I would talk about Ferrari, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We got to go back and find that other Red Bull. And Larry, it's it was 12th, but that is not a representative of how the weekend went for Liam Lawson. It was decidedly bad for him.
Considering that like 6 cars DNF'd, yeah, that's pretty damn bad. Is it my time, Darryl?
Yeah, you have the floor.
I need to take a deep breath before I get into this.
Somebody put the spotlight on him.
Yeah. So, before I discuss Liam and Yuki and Helmet, I think we need to address the Sprint Cup qualifying, or the Sprint Cup. There's a dated reference.
Jesus, that is old.
Back when Winston was on cars still.
Yeah.
At least you didn't go all the way back to Nextel.
Yeah. It's the sprint qualifying coverage of Isaac Hadger. So last week, obviously, we were rather disappointed with the way that the cameras followed Isaac Hadger during what was probably the most disappointing moment of his career. The media company who owns the right to the broadcast of Formula One races, whose name we will not mention on this podcast, but go outside and look up at there you go, attempted to catch Hadger out again after an early exit in the second session of the sprint qualifying. The cameras followed him for 15 uninterrupted seconds with a close-up on his face as he walked through the pits. He kept his head up high. He didn't show emotion, which Helmut Marko told him not to do anymore. But Carlos Sainz and the Sauber drivers all walked down pit lane. No close-up coverage. It was literally just an aerial shot for a fraction of a second. So just kind of before we get into that, I think I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that we're disappointed in the broadcast for just, they are targeting him at this point with the race, with the coverage. So
Absolutely.
definitely we do not condone the way that they are just targeting him. And for what it's worth, he was instrumental in getting Yuki a tow down a really long straight, which got him into the third session. So at the end of the day, he made the most out of what he knew he wasn't going to make it through into SQ3. And so he gave his teammate a great tow, which set Yuki up pretty good, going into that third session. So now on to Liam. So the remarks that were made after the race by Helmut and Christian were disappointing.
To say the least.
I understand that Liam Lawson had another disappointing weekend in, Max says that this car is difficult to drive. It's a tough car. So even Alex Albon has said that Max likes his car as sensitive as possible. So Max coming out and saying that the car is difficult to drive should take a little bit of the target off of Lawson's back, but that is not the case. It's also worth noting that, just while Lawson had a terrible qualifying effort, Red Bull essentially wrote off the chance of him scoring any points. And so they just gave him a crazy car setup so that they could collect data off him. And that was according to Christian Horner. So they essentially sabotaged his race before it even started, which I understand that he had a terrible qualifying effort where he qualified dead last. So they had nothing to lose, but you can't really judge him off of this performance, in the race, because they gave him just a let's collect some data setup. So, do I think Lawson was the right person to put in that seat originally? No, I do not. I think Yuki should have been in that seat. And I think that Lawson probably gets the boot in the next race or two. And that's just kind of comparing what Christian Horner has said in the media. Last year, he was saying that, Checo was under contract. The seat was Checo's, and they saw Checo through till the end. And when they've asked Christian Horner about it this year with Liam Lawson, they just say, we're going to analyze the data. We're going to go back and talk things over. They're not saying Lawson's under contract or Lawson is our driver next week. So they're not saying the same things that they said for Checo.
So my question with that would be, if you're really going to throw him out after 2 races, why did you sign him in the first place? Because somebody's got to lose their job. If you bring in a guy after another guy, he has 2 bad races and now you want to get rid of him. So your talent in the NFL, that gets your GM fired.
Yeah. So
that needs to get Helmut Marko fired. If this is where we're going.
I don't necessarily know that Marko was the one pushing for Lawson. Mm-hmm. The way that Drive to Survive framed it, which I understand that this is like quoting Wikipedia back in 2006.
Jesus.
But
the way on that one.
Yeah, right. The way that Drive to Survive framed it was that it was more like Horner and the team saying to bring him in. And they even, I'm pretty sure they said in Drive to Survive that Yuki was faster and he was better, but Lawson had a higher ceiling.
So
what does that mean?
I have a theory, but
yes.
I think the reason they didn't go with Yuki might be the Honda connection.
See, we've been saying that, but Honda said this year that Tsunoda was on his own.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think they were banking on Sonoda's gonna be, that the Honda connection, and then when Honda is leaving Red Bull at the end of this year, they're just like, well, he's not really a Red Bull driver; he's a Honda driver. So we're gonna go with the Red Bull driver instead of the Honda driver. Because Honda's pulling out, they're not really loyal to Honda.
They're pulling out a Red Bull, but they're staying with
Aston Martin.
They're going to Aston Martin.
And that's why I think they didn't keep Yuki.
So here are my thoughts, and this is echoed in every social media like post and stuff like that. So this isn't necessarily uniquely my own thought, but it is one I agree with. Mm-hmm. So let's take Yuki, right? Let's go back, time machine. It's the beginning of the year. You put Yuki in that car. You have Liam Lawson and Isaac in the Racing Bulls. So this is what we call a win-win scenario. Mm-hmm. If Yuki underperforms, he's not under contract for 2026. You shake hands at the end of the year. He leaves, and then you've got two rookies, which, I'm saying that Lawson's a rookie, even though he got seat time last year. This is the first full year. Mm-hmm. So you've got two rookies that have a year of data to compare against each other. So if Yuki does underperform and that seat opens up, now you've got a year of data, two rookies. You pick whichever one you think is best. The other side that would be a win is Yuki does great and you re-sign him for a couple of years while your two rookies develop at Racing Bulls, which is what that whole team, the point of that team is anyway, was a development team. So you let them develop for a couple of years, and then, Yuki or whoever leaves after 2-3 seasons, you bring one of them up, and then Max leaves whenever he decides to leave, and then you've got the other one right there to go. So I don't understand. So now what you're going to do, potentially everybody's talking about, is you drop Lawson from Red Bull down to V-Carb, Racing Bulls, AlphaTauri. You drop him down, but in the what you're doing is you are knocking down any development that he's had over the past year. You're just kicking that right to the curb because you're deflating the kids. You're deflating any confidence that he's built up.
Yeah, you're absolutely shattering his confidence at this point.
This should have never happened. He should have never
agree straight with you, up. Chris, about the whole reason Racing Bulls is there in the first place. It is excuse me. It is a team where you're meant to develop. A lot of these main Formula One teams, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, they have teams where you can put young talent in and let them develop. I feel like Red Bull or Helmut Marko, or rather, forgot the whole purpose of that team, and that is to develop the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And they have forgotten what that team is for.
Yeah, and I just think, my main worry about Red Bull is when Max leaves and calls it quits, because I really feel like it's going to happen soon, just because the car is starting to not be as good, and then the other car isn't doing as well either. What is going to happen when he leaves?
They're going to go right to the back.
Yeah.
Chris said exactly what I was going to say. They're going to go right to the back.
And I don't want them to go right to the back, because then that's just going to...
They're going to be competing with Haas to see who can finish worse.
Yeah.
And I really don't want that. Because
I don't either.
It's just...
Neither do I, but they've shattered...
Like they didn't future-proof themselves in a way.
Well, it's not that they didn't future-proof themselves. They've shattered all of their the drivers that were supposed to take over.
So
they've completely shattered them.
Yeah. So this year is going to tell you, probably by about the time that we get to the summer break, you're going to know what's happening with Max next year. George Russell is not under contract in 2026 with Mercedes. Kimi Antonelli is not under contract for 2026 with Mercedes. Toto, through, again, Drive to Survive, like, they seemed like they were, like, genuinely disappointed. Like, they got their hopes up they'd get Max, and they didn't. And Max has his out in his contract. And as long as he is the only one scoring points for Red Bull, he is not going to compete alone with McLaren. He's not going to compete with Mercedes, Ferrari. And with Haas scoring double points, who knows if he can even compete with them anymore. He'll probably get his out in his contract, like performance out. He'll get that if he wants it.
And I think he goes to Mercedes, because if you watch that race off of turn 13, that Mercedes was a rocket ship.
At the end, he was catching George, though.
Yeah, he was. But I don't know if he gets to that rear wing if he passes him. Maybe not. Ferrari. Maybe that's a Ferrari thing, but like off of turn 13, those cars look fast.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think Max is probably the biggest toss-up, because I do think that if Red Bull is really performing the way that it is, I think he'll leave.
And then just where's Red Bull going to go? Where?
Then again, who knows? He really hates Formula One, so
he's probably going to go off and just run his GT3 team, sim race, and raise his kids.
Realistically, I could see him going to Aston Martin just to develop that. But Mercedes also has, they do a lot of, like sports car type racing, like GT3, stuff like that. So I could see him going and racing with Mercedes if they're going to put up the money. And, I think what you're going to see out of Max is he's looking for funding for his team, not necessarily himself.
Yep.
And he'll go to whoever does that for him. Now it's your boys' turn.
Yep.
So,
well, as a new Tifosi convert, I understand what everyone's been saying about that team.
Yourself included over the past 10 years.
Yeah. It really hits different when you're now rooting for them. This team can't put it together. They just can't.
They can't.
It's like the 23 team in NASCAR.
It's like the Dallas. I can't even say it's Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys might be more competent at this point, and that's saying something.
Yes, Larry.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Yeah, we do.
We do have to talk about it because it's getting ridiculous.
If blowing the strategy at Australia wasn't enough. Okay, yes, the one positive. Lewis wins the sprint race. That's great. Who knows where that speed went from the sprint race to the main race? But then a double DSQ.
Are you kidding issues me? Too. It wasn't even the same issue.
You messed up the setup, so Lewis's car was too low. And then somehow, and I don't understand this reasoning. You ran a one-stop race, so it burned off that much tire rubber that the car was underweight. What are we doing?
I watched something about this earlier today, and they said it was also running off as much fuel as they ran off was a contributing factor to the weight.
So you underfueled the car, is what you're saying, is what they did.
Yes.
Possibly. But the other thing is, like, if you watch cooldown lap stuff, like Max was driving in the marbles. He went off into the grass at one point because bro, while those tires are still sticky, is putting as much weight back on those tires as he can.
Yes.
That's the move. I'm sure they probably all do that realistically, but like that's what you do. You know the rule book, drive in those marbles, drive out in the grass and put as much weight back on that car as you can.
It's aggravating. And I've only been here for 2 weeks. Michael, you've been here for years, so how are you feeling about all this?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if you guys have ever had something that you wanted to improve and get better, only for it to disappoint you over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, the Browns.
Oh, I poked fun at you last week, Jen, but you weren't here. I think we were talking about the definition of insanity.
Oh, yep, that's the Browns also.
I was a Commanders fan during the Snyder era, so.
You're getting a new stadium, though, Jen. So
yes.
That must be exciting.
It is very exciting. It's like 5 minutes from my house.
Nice.
I'd sell it. Someone's going to overpay.
And it just doesn't get better. And the thing is, all the ways it can get better, but they don't listen to criticism. So they're just never going to get better.
Here's my thing. They want to have a strategy group from Italy. I get that. You've got to start firing people. It's not working.
Rocket Power Media just made a meme and said, fire all the Italians. I think you actually got to do that.
I think, unironically, you have to fire all the Italians because when that team was dominating with Michael Schumacher, it did not have a bunch of Italians on it. It had Ross Braun and the best talent that you could find.
Yeah, I think they need to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't. Their ego is too high. What ego? I don't know. But
Dairy Queens, love them, Dairy. Larry.
The thing is,
didn't even mean the pun.
There's no excuse for this team now, and a lot of Ferrari fans feel vindicated right now because the fans that have been saying in Ferrari that Charles Leclerc is not the problem and has not been the problem.
They feel not
vindicated right now.
He is not the problem. He never was.
I agree.
I always get mad about this when people point out that he has more poles than wins. And I always say, well, whose fault do you think that is? His or the team's?
Look at the strategists they have.
And the crazy thing is we've been talking about strategy as long as I have been on this show, which I think this is my fourth year. We've been talking about this every year since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
If that team was competent,
I hope you're buying, Larry. I'm joining.
If he was more competent, not him. He's fine. If he had a more competent team behind him, I think he has a lot more wins. I don't know about a championship, but I think he has a lot more wins than just 8.
So, touching on the team and Leclerc. So this is like a little bit of radio that they played. So his engineer says main loss turns 8 and 9. That's where all the gain is. 4/10 there. And Leclerc comes over the radio and he sounds kind of tired / defeated. And he says, yeah, I know. You told me about 10 or 15 times. I know. And Lewis last week was the same thing. They are telling their racing engineers to stop talking to them. It's both of them.
They talk way too much on the radio.
I think they
Ferrari engineers.
I think the other team's engineers, they only give them information on a need to know basis.
As it should be.
And Ferrari's just like yapping in their ear constantly, and they're just like,
Maybe
shut
they
up.
think their voices will add weight to the cars.
I do not want to hear an Italian man speak in my ear going 200 miles an hour into a corner.
Yeah.
Well, think about it, like they have to push the button and respond to it too.
Yeah.
So like
They'll just keep saying it if they don't.
Yeah, you're taking obviously it's a fraction of a second's worth of concentration away, but the more you talk, the more you distract your driver.
They better be lucky they don't have
Listen.
Max, because Max would have told them to shut up.
I was gonna say, I've listened to Max's radio for a whole race before. They barely speak.
Yep.
And also, GP is the only one that can mentally handle Max.
Well, Christian does most of the talking to Max now because GP's been promoted. Yeah, so it's actually really Christian that talks to him.
Oh wow! Well, you can't.
But
really
even still, Christian hardly says a word.
Yeah, I think at Red Bull, Bono only said like one thing to Kimi.
Yep.
Yeah, these drivers don't want you chatting them up the whole race.
Yeah, most of like I said, they just need to know information. Other than that, just let them drive.
Exactly.
Then if you go to like Drive to Survive at Brazil, they did like the whole episode on it last year where Lando kept asking about Max, like where is he, and they said like don't worry about him, like worry about the car in front of you. And then they're like, oh yeah, Max made up 9 places on the first lap, and obviously it was crazy editing, but then you've got teams like McLaren who won't even give their driver the answer they're looking for.
Yeah.
And I actually got some stuff to say about Lando too, but that can wait.
Yeah, well, we have we're pretty much over time. We're going into the Japanese Grand Prix, so we'll wrap it up with this. Is Lando in the best car going to live up to this promise this week, or is Piastri going to take his number again?
I think Piastri takes the number.
Actually, we've got 10 days, excuse me.
Here's my problem with Lando.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them, but one, he was denied having a car advantage for 2 consecutive weeks now. It's time to just acknowledge and give your team the credit they deserve to putting together a rocket ship.
Absolutely.
He is denying the fact that his car has an advantage, and it's sickening. Because Max in 2023 was literally saying, yeah, I have an advantage. My car's a rocket ship, and he would say it anytime somebody asked. But with 10 laps to go, and this is why, Darryl, this isn't a complete tangent, but this is why I don't think Lando wins the championship. With 10 laps to go, it might have been more like 11 or 12. But his race engineer, they're talking back and forth because his brake pedal is getting freer and freer. And so the engineer says, yep, it's going to keep getting worse. Just nurse it. And he says, we'd rather have you finish second than not at all. And this is with 10 laps to go. Lando does not let up. He continues pushing and pushing and pushing, despite the fact that Piastri's like 6 seconds up the road from him. And George is like, I think he was 8 seconds back at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then he comes across the radio and says that he basically has no brakes left. And this is with like 2 to go, 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so he lets off because he has to coast into corners. And George goes from, I think, about 8 seconds back to 1.5 seconds back in a lap and a half. If they had one more lap, George would have passed him for P2. And it's because Lando did not listen to his team despite every lap begging him, please just nurse it home. We would rather have you finish P2 than not at all. And that is why Lando will not be a champion.
So do you think it's more so like not really his talent, but more so his ego that's kind of like getting in his way?
I think it's the fact that Piastri is better than him.
Yeah.
Like I think Piastri is a better raw talent, and he's coming in and doing just as good, if not better, than Lando. And I think, one, that's eating at Lando, but 2, it's building Piastri's confidence up.
Well, I think Piastri could win this championship.
I think Piastri
how he's running.
I think he's my favorite for the championship.
Piastri is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just like his Kimi Räikkönen-esque like kind of mentality. Not really mentality, but he's quiet. He doesn't say much. He just drives.
Yes, Larry, they did. Piastri had a hell of a weekend.
Yeah, like I said, I just like he's quiet, fast, doesn't say much.
So right now in the driver's standings, even with the best car, Norris only leads 44-36 over Verstappen. Russell has 35. Piastri has 34. Kimi Antonelli 22 and Alexander Albon 16, rounding out your top 6. They'll be back in Japan April 4th through 6th.
Did you see that Antonelli was the driver of the day?
I did see that. That was cool.
Why is that cool?
Why?
He started 8th and finished 8th before
He didn't
the
do
penalty.
anything. I said Behrman was my driver of the day.
Yeah, that was before Behrman even finished where he did, but I think it was like 5th.
Haas and Williams double pointed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which that's a great run for Haas because we thought they were dead after Australia.
And it comes out that Carlos Sainz is running a 2024 spec car. He doesn't even have a 2025 chassis. He's running a 2024 car. A rebuilt 2024 car, actually.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was one that somebody wrecked.
Logan Sargent, I think, wrecked that one about 4 or 5 times.
And then lastly, the rumors of the V10s coming back has Audi upset.
Yeah, because they didn't sign up for this.
Yeah. But Verstappen said it'd keep him in the sport.
Okay, we're going to have V10s then.
So you have
but here's the thing about the V10s. The manufacturers didn't sign up for that.
No, but there's talk of it coming back, though.
So how many manufacturers are we going to lose?
We only got 3?
Well, we got Ferrari, we got Honda, Mercedes, and now Audi.
And I actually
and Cadillac.
Ferrari cannot leave.
Well, Ferrari's not going to leave.
Well, Ferrari is in bondage with the sport. They can't leave.
Ferrari's not going to leave. Cadillac just got here. Audi has not wanted to do this from the jump. They wanted to do sports cars. And it feels like they're being forced to do Formula One at this point.
Come back.
I could see them quitting.
Yeah.
And going back to hypercar.
Hopefully it goes to Andretti then. They sell their stake.
Yeah.
Or combine, or Sauber combines with Andretti. The Sauber engineering is not bad.
It'll be a third Red Bull team for them to shake up.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
So hopefully things get better in Formula One. But folks, it is time to call it a day for this edition of the Extra Mile. We got NASCAR this weekend. They're going to be at Martinsville. IndyCar is going to be on a little bit of a break also as well. Formula One, and it's going to be kind of a light racing weekend this week. But there's a bunch of other things you can check out. Of course, we got Supercross this weekend. I'll also be calling the Crux Cup 24-hour, or at least a portion of it, on twitch.tv/ANZ Racing. So make sure you check that out. But for now, we're going to say goodbye for this edition of the Extra Mile. For Jen, Chris, and Michael, I'm Darryl. Thank you so much for listening to the Extra Mile. We will see you at the next green flag. We are clear. I like the sound effect.
Oh, we're all muted. So I tracked our metrics. And so maybe Jen or Darryl, maybe you guys know.
We're still live.
Oh, hold on.